Mike's Daily Podcast.
FF episode 2113, 212121212. It's Mike Matthews. And the song's called Mike's Daily Podcast. I got some criticism about this show that I sing a stupid song at the beginning, but they like that because I'm always winning, and I love doing my show here for you, and thank you for listening. I don't know if it's clear to you that I was at a very cool place yesterday. I was in the town of Benita.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's the first time I've been to Benita since my dog passed away. So it's kind of sad because I would always take him with me to Benita.
Podcast.
And so I had to do it without him. But I was with my lovely lady friend, and that will probably be in the podcast picture today. Here's today's podcast picture, and you'll see that. But yes, I had some criticism I received about how I sing too much on my show, and you know what? That's all right. Sometimes you gotta sing. Sometimes you have to express yourself, like Madonna said you should do, like the Lady Gaga said. Was Lady Gaga ripping off Madonna? And then I was coached today on someone's name in a Canadian band that apparently I should have known the name, for I have seen this band many times. It's Neil Peart. I think I still said it wrong. At any rate, sorry Neil, the late great Neil Peart. I want to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, speaking of Basil the Boxer, I can't have any pets right now. I almost stole a stray cat. There was a stray cat, a feral cat, but a really well-fed feral cat. So I don't know, maybe taking this cat out of the current circumstance that he or she is in, because you can never tell with cats, unless they're pregnant, then you go, okay, that's pretty much a pregnant cat or a very fat cat. Maybe that's the expression, fat cats, where that came from. At any rate, this cat was huge and looking really healthy.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And living very close to, I guess, what would be called a senior help type medical place, old folks home. And this cat seemed very well off. So I left the cat alone. But I was also thinking, I'm allergic to cats. Should I get a cat? And I don't think I'm ready for a pet now, because I spent 10 and a half years with my last dog, with my last pet, and those very, very rewarding years. At the same time, I ain't got any friends that will watch my pet when I go on a trip. That's right, Basil. It was always extremely difficult whenever I left you, Basil, to find people to watch you. Very difficult. So in these years, now that we said goodbye and you're off in pooch heaven, I'm going to take advantage of the time and actually go on a trip. I need to go see my mom. I couldn't find anyone to watch Basil when I would go to see my mom, and I'd like to take my lovely lady friend this time around. She did watch Basil the last time I went. But that probably shows something that's wrong with me, that I don't have the right friends that can watch my pets. That probably says something about how I am. Oh, by the way, I heard back from a friend of mine that listens to the podcast, Sylvia, and she has informed me that she now has a dog. So it's that's really cool. I will miss not having a dog, but I almost stole this cat. The cat. What's funny is, cats will be so. It was so nice, I'm petting it. It's like rubbing itself against me, and then I go to pet it again, and it reaches out and wants to claw me and draw blood, which is probably not something you want to have happen to you from a stray cat. But the podcast picture is of a wonderful trip that my lovely lady friend and I took to Benita, and all these mosquitoes. These mosquitoes were attacking me in this general area. I don't know where they were. I didn't think they lived in the bay, but then we were by some marshy areas that are near the bay. And possibly that's where they came from. But I swear I saw and was attacked by more mosquitoes at this place than ever I was in the South, in Alabama. when I lived there for 2 years. Everybody said, because Californians don't know anything about Alabama, they're going, hey, when you go to Alabama, you're going to be attacked and picked up and flown away by a big mosquito. And that never happened. I did get bites from those things called no-see-ums. And they get on your ankles and they bite and it's awful. But as for mosquitoes, the worst I ever saw was yesterday in Benicia. Or Benicia. Or Benicia. However you say it. Back in Santa Barbara, where I used to live for a short time, a hot minute, and I worked in Santa Barbara for a long time. I would commute up from Oxnard, and my first radio job was in Santa Barbara. I worked at a station called Y97, and I was thinking about that, and I've been lately getting up at 5 in the morning, and I can't, even though I'm not supposed to wake up then, but my body just activates, turns on, and I can't turn my brain off, and I end up thinking of these old memories of when I lived in, or was working in Santa Barbara, at a top 40 station, that was playing some of that hair metal that I was talking about in the last show, to which Ken then pointed out all these other bands I missed. Zebra, Kicks, Don't Close Your Eyes. And I'm told not to sing anymore on my podcast, so sorry. And then in Santa Barbara, also at the station, it was called Y97, and we would play a lot of top 40 stuff. It was, at that time, late 80s, Janet Jackson. But we were playing Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine. Which, by the way, Jim Rome, that's where he got his start, was just down the hall at the news station, KTMS. He would just be he was a board op, just watching, making sure all the automation played. And I knew he loved Guns N' Roses, and he thought, I hate the music on Y97. And then one day I walked in, I go, Jim, we're playing Guns N' Roses. And he's like, cool! He lit up. And now he is the richest man alive. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. So, I worked at the station. He and I worked at this place on Cacique Street, which I found out Cacique is Espanol for a type of, like a lord, like someone that owns a landlord, or like in a tiered caste system, is like the leaders that own a bunch of land and make everybody work beneath them as their servants. So Cacique, where I worked as a servant to a station called Y97, I worked overnight. I worked really early hours. Oh, I guess I still do that these days. But it was a interesting time. It was a weird radio station. It was like right in the middle of this neighborhood. I mean, we were surrounded by houses. It wasn't the best neighborhood, actually. There was a really dicey liquor store across the street that I never went into, but some of the guys that worked at the station went there all the time. There was, we had, I think a couple people tried to break into it, so we had this really strict security system, even in the late 80s. And being in Santa Barbara, we were nowhere near the beach. It would have been nice if it was a radio station right on the beach. How cool would that have been? No, forget that. We were way up, sort of in this dicey neighborhood up on a hill type thing. I was thinking about that and waking up early, and I remember one time they had this huge box full of corn nuts. And I don't know if you know this or not, but corn nuts stink. And if you're eating corn nuts, you stink. You just smell. You emit an odor. And they're not the best thing for you. Your body goes, what are you doing? Oh, one other thing. In Benicia, my lovely lady friend and I visited a pizza place called Pizza Pirate. And that's been there since the early 70s. And in fact, I went there when I was just a kid. My parents were traveling through Benicia. And we stopped there and had pizza. And I remember one of my early childhood memories is seeing the wooden ceiling. And it was there. I saw it last night, folks. It brought me back in time. And I was telling the young kid that worked there, hello, sir. What would you like to order? And I said, look, this is where I remember all this. And he goes, what? So that was my interesting weekend. And I hope you felt that my last podcast was very heartfelt, because it was, and I talked a lot about how life is odd and you can't take it for granted, and you shouldn't. And you should also not be ruled by your memories like I have been lately. But that's how that goes. Try and strike a nice balance with it all, I guess. Okay, so here we are, Cafe Anyway, outside. Let's say hi to some people. Hi, Mac. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
I think that this whole world that you're talking about, memories, it sounds pretty cool. And I would like to live in memory land. Tell you what.
What?
Memories.
Yeah, Barbara Streisand. Look who else is here.
Oh, Mac, I make the delicious root beer hairstone right now. I'll cut you. Oh, boy.
Excellent. Hey, I just got to record this thing here. Mike's Daily Podcast is being in right here at Cafe Anyway with this cool equipment and the logo right there. Yes, youtube.com, Mike's Daily Podcast, my hand.
All right, Mike, take care. Thank you. Good to see you again.
There we go. Next show, it'll be the wonderful... What the heck was that? Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Thanks for listening to FF episode 2113. What do you think? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast tries oh so hard to be. Or you can also text me at that number too. Thanks.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!